In the previous chapter, we saw Fan humiliate Zhao Deju, cleverly allowing him to return to his sect to sow discord while easily defeating Hellion Flame. The stage was set for an epic final battle as Fan prepared to face Ye Lin, the powerful disciple of the decimating dragon ancestor, in a showdown that would determine the fate of the Double Dragon Gathering. Let's begin the chapter. The crowd was beyond excited. Finally, the moment had arrived to witness two legendary teams clashing for the ultimate crown. On one side stood the strongest sect of the Western lands, the Ultimate Clarity sect. For thousands of years they had been unmatched, their dominance secured under the banner of Double Dragon Manor. Their position at the top was so entrenched that no one dared challenge them. On the other side was the greatest underdog in the history of the Double Dragon Gathering. Hailing from the lower three sects, the Demon Scheming sect had defied all odds, carving a bloody path to the top. Everyone knew their success was due to one man, but that only amplified the crowd's excitement. This sect's meteoric rise had captivated everyone, making them hold their breath at every victory. Each time, they wondered if this dark horse would finally fall. Some even hoped a sect could put an end to this rampage. Yet at the same time, they couldn't help but cheer for the underdog, secretly wanting them to shatter centuries of tradition and climb even higher. This mix of emotions, anticipation, tension, and thrill made the arena pulse with energy. Today's match wasn't just another battle. It was a clash between kings, one reigning supreme for ages and the other eager to usurp the throne. Would the Ultimate Clarity sect remain unrivaled, or would the Demon Scheming sect pull off the impossible and establish a new order? Even the 9 sects teams couldn't remain calm. The tension was palpable, muscles were taut, and breaths were shallow. How many years has it been since we've seen such an electrifying match? Exalted Bai Mei remarked, a refreshed smile. Gracing his face, exalted, Heiran nodded. The sects haven't changed seats in thousands of years. That peace made us complacent. But change is inevitable, and honestly, it's for the best. This shift in power will drive the sects to push their disciples harder. He chuckled, his eyes sparkling with excitement. Both Exalted Bai Mei and Exalted Heiran turned their gaze to the two figures at the heart of the upcoming battle. Ye Lin and Zhuo Fan. They knew this fight revolved entirely around these two prodigies. The rest, barring Wu Qingqiu, might as well have been spectators. In fact, anyone with functioning eyes could see it. This battle wasn't just about determining the top sect, but also deciding who would claim the title of the best disciple in the Western lands, the future pinnacle of cultivation. As the excitement reached a fever pitch, the judge stepped forward, his voice booming across the arena. The two teams are here. Demon Scheming sect, do you wish to challenge the head of the 9 sects, the Ultimate Clarity sect? The judge's choice of words wasn't casual. Referring to the Ultimate Clarity sect as the head of the 9 sects was a deliberate move to stoke the flames of excitement. He, too, couldn't contain his fervor. The crowd roared in unison, chanting, "Fight! Fight! Fight!" Zhuo Fan raised his fist high, his voice cutting through the chaos. "As you all wish, we shall fight!" The crowd erupted, their cheers echoing to the heavens. The judge nodded, his smile wide. "Open the dimension!" A low hum resonated as the two gatekeepers activated the door to the secret valley. Wu Qingqiu, calm and composed, smiled at Zhuo Fan's team before stepping through first. Zhuo Fan's eyes narrowed as he touched the ring on his finger. With Danking Shen still concealed within, he had to carefully time his moves. The stakes were immense, not just for the battle ahead, but for his hidden mission. Leading his team, Zhuo Fan entered the White Curtain, returning to the familiar valley. This was his 6th time here. He knew the terrain like the back of his hand, including where the monitoring arrays were and where their blind spots lay. As his teammates followed, the two sects stood face to face once more. Wu Qingqiu, ever the gentleman, broke the silence. "Brother Zhuo, your strength is admirable. I've been looking forward to this fight. Unfortunately, this isn't my moment. My younger brother insists on taking this honor, and I can't deny him the joy. I'll settle for the next time." He stepped back, cupping his hands politely. Zhuo Fan, unfazed, simply nodded. Wu Qingqiu turned to Ye Lin. "Although this is a team battle, it's clear what's at stake. Your sect relies on one man, so we shall respond in kind. This fight will be settled by one representative from each side, while the rest of us observe from the sidelines." Ye Lin stepped forward, his wide grin exuding confidence. Meanwhile, Zhuo Fan's teammates, Qi Changlong and the others, shifted uncomfortably. Wu Qingqiu's words stung. While true, it felt like a blatant dismissal of their worth. "We know." "It's true, but did you have to say it out loud?" Zhuo Fan noticed their frustration but didn't address it. Instead, he focused on the opposing team. "Brother Wu is correct," Zhuo Fan began, his voice calm but firm. "This fight must be one-on-one. However, once the battle starts, even if your disciples feel tempted to intervene, they are not to interfere. Agreed?" Wu Qingqiu nodded, his polite smile unwavering. "Of course. That's how it should be." The tension eased slightly as Zhuo Fan's teammates laughed, albeit bitterly. "You dare call us useless? Fine. But remember, when these monsters clash, even you'll be as useless as us." Wu Qingqiu, ever perceptive, merely shook his head, smiling wryly. But Ultimate Clarity Sect's disciples weren't as composed. Being dismissed by a lower 3 sect stung their pride. Amid this growing tension, Wu Qingqiu turned to Ye Lin. "Junior brother, aren't you going to say anything? Share your thoughts." Ye Lin scratched his head, then grinned. "You're right. Aside from senior brother Wu, the rest of them can be ignored. This fight is between you and me." His bluntness left Wu Qingqiu holding his forehead in exasperation. Ye Lin had always been a lone wolf, unbothered by social norms. The other disciples, however, weren't so forgiving. "This junior brother of ours has a real talent for insulting people." But Ye Lin didn't care. As a sacred beast inheritor, he saw most people as beneath him. Even Wu Qingqiu only earned his respect because of years of mentorship. To Ye Lin, Zhuo Fan was the only worthy opponent. "All of you, step back," Ye Lin commanded his teammates. "I don't care if you get caught in the aftermath." Though annoyed, they complied, knowing better than to argue. On the other side, Zhuo Fan signaled his own team to retreat. "Stand a mile behind me, unless you want to be crushed, that is." His teammates hesitated but eventually obeyed. Why? Does he always make us stand behind him? Unbeknownst to them, Zhuo Fan had positioned them strategically near a blind spot in the monitoring array. It was part of his larger plan involving Danking Shen. With everything in place, the stage was set. Zhuo Fan took a deep breath, his eyes locking on to Ye Lin's. His right hand began to glow with a fearsome red aura. Ye Lin smirked, his fist igniting. In golden flames. In a flash, Ye Lin charged forward, his speed unmatched, his fiery fist aimed directly at Zhuo Fan. The battle had begun. Zhuo Fan's eyes narrowed as he stared ahead, startled. He had always known Ye Lin was fast, but seeing him in action now? This speed was beyond anything he had anticipated. It was almost as if Ye Lin had defied the very concept of reaction. Time, appearing before him in an instant, too quick for any countermeasure. Faced with this sudden assault, Zhuo Fan had no choice but to halt his own attack and turn it into a defensive block. Yet even this maneuver left him at a disadvantage. The momentum was no longer his. The clash that followed was nothing short of explosive. A burst of golden flames erupted as Ye Lin's punch connected, sending Zhuo Fan hurtling backward. The fiery energy was intense, scorching even through the killing arm he had relied on for strength. Pain coursed through him and his expression darkened. The spectators, members of the fiendish clans, were equally stunned. One of them exclaimed, disbelief clear in their voice, "How can this be?" Steward, Zhuo actually lost in terms of raw power? Zhuo Fan himself couldn't hide his shock. He had always believed that Ye Lin's decimating golden flame, inherited from the decimating dragon ancestor, was purely destructive, a force that could incinerate but lacked physical might. As long as he avoided a direct clash with the flames, his mighty Qilin arm should have been enough to dominate Ye Lin in close combat. But reality was proving otherwise. Ye Lin's sheer physical strength rivaled, if not surpassed, his own. His body was unnaturally tough, almost draconic. Could he be part dragon? Zhuo Fan mused, his thoughts racing. But he quickly dismissed the notion. A real dragon, especially one trained by the Dragon Emperor, would be far more overwhelming. Someone akin to young Sanzi, whose power bordered on monstrous. Ye Lin, though formidable, wasn't quite on that level. The realization hit him like a cold wave. Ye Lin had likely refined not just his flames, but his body as well. Those golden scales on his fist, gleaming with a sharp, blinding light, confirmed it. He wasn't fully human. At the very least, he was a hybrid, a fusion of human and dragon. This revelation made Zhuo Fan's situation even grimmer. His Qilin arm was powerful, yes, but the rest of his body remained human. Against an opponent whose entire being was enhanced, the advantage of a single arm was negligible. Ye Lin, meanwhile, was enjoying the upper hand. His lips curled into a sinister smile as he launched himself forward once more, his fist blazing with golden flames. Zhuo Fan's right eye glimmered with a golden hue as he activated the divine eye of the void's first stage, Shift. He vanished, reappearing behind Ye Lin and launching a counterattack with the full power of his Qilin arm. The red glow of the arm flared brightly, a devastating force aimed directly at Ye Lin's back. This was no ordinary strike. It carried the essence of the Qilin's might, capable of overwhelming even the fiercest defenses. But Ye Lin was prepared. His other hand, also encased in golden flames, swung backward to intercept the attack. The two forces collided, unleashing a shockwave so immense it seemed to tear the very fabric of reality. The ground beneath them was obliterated, not just leveled, but erased entirely. Even the tiniest particles of dust were annihilated, leaving behind a void where matter once existed. The audience gasped in unison, their fear palpable. Members of the Ultimate Clarity sect and Demon Scheming sect broke into a cold sweat, their faces pale as they witnessed the devastating power on display. The exalted double dragons, overseeing the battle, were equally stunned. What kind of training produces monsters like these? They wondered, struggling to comprehend the sheer scale of power being wielded. When the smoke cleared, both fighters had been forced apart. Zhuo Fan's Qilin arm bore scorch marks, and his breathing was heavy. Even from 100 meters away, the residual heat from Ye Lin's flames made him wince. Ye Lin wasn't unscathed either. His hand, though protected by dragon scales, trembled. From the impact, signs of inflammation creeping up his arm. Yet, instead of anger or frustration, his face was alight with excitement. "That's more like it," he muttered to himself, a manic grin spreading across his face. Soaring Qilin's punch, truly a force to be reckoned with. But you're only at the radiant stage, far from the ethereal stage. Against ordinary opponents, that arm might be enough, but against someone like me, it's not nearly sufficient. His words were a declaration of dominance, a taunt to Zhuo Fan. Without hesitation, Ye Lin launched himself forward again, his body a blur of golden light. The flames around his hands burned brighter, exuding a bloodthirsty aura that sent shivers down Zhuo Fan's spine. This time he's coming at me for real, Zhuo Fan thought grimly. His right eye glowed once more, and he activated Shift, narrowly avoiding Ye Lin's attack. What followed was a frenzied exchange of blows, too fast for the eye to follow. Golden and red trails streaked across the battlefield, accompanied by deafening explosions. To the spectators, it was as if the two fighters had vanished, their figures reduced to blurs that appeared and disappeared across the battlefield. Each clash left behind a trail of destruction, the ground trembling under the force of their attacks. For the disciples of the nine sects, this battle was an eye-opening experience. They realized with chilling clarity just how vast the gap was between themselves and these two fighters. "We wouldn't last even 5 moves against them," one disciple murmured, his voice tinged with despair. Wen Tao, watching from the sidelines, couldn't help but question his own experiences. How did I ever manage to wound Zhuo Fan? He wondered, doubt creeping into his mind. It doesn't make sense. The members of the Demon Scheming Sect and Ultimate Clarity Sect were equally shaken. The sheer power and speed on display made it clear that this wasn't a fight they could interfere in. To step into the battlefield now would be suicidal. As the battle raged on, the audience could only watch in awe and terror, their respect for both fighters growing with each passing moment. This wasn't just a clash between two individuals, it was a demonstration of what it truly meant to wield the power of sacred beasts.